So, you study many subjects. Why would you do that to yourself? Look at you now, crying because there's just too much work and too little time. Well, bestie, we can't turn back time and I definitely can't change your terrible life decisions, but what I can do is explain 5 unique study tips that will help you manage and study many subjects at the same time. I took 11 subjects back in secondary school along with some extra subjects, so I not only understand your pain, but I've experienced it firsthand. Study tip number 3 is a study tip that I've literally never heard before on YouTube, but it makes so much sense, so be sure to watch till the end of the video to know what that is. First, split your subjects. The thing is, you never want to dedicate an entire day just for one subject. Here's why. Let's just say you have 10 subjects. If you only study one subject per day and you studied history on Monday, that would mean that you only study history again the next Thursday. You're probably going to forget everything by the time day 10 rolls around. Do you even remember what you ate for dinner last night? Yeah, I thought so. So what I like to do is divide my subjects into 2 or 3 batches instead of dedicating one day for one subject. If you have 8 subjects or less, you separate them into 2 batches. If you have 9 subjects or more, you separate them into 3 batches. You will be studying one batch of subjects every day instead of just studying one subject. Ideally, you don't want to have more than 3 batches because the chances of you forgetting a lot of material within 4 days is very high. You will dedicate the first session to study the topic, and then the next session to do practice questions for the topic, and then alternate as you go on. If you're not confident that you can finish studying a topic or a concept in one day, then feel free to dedicate 2 days to study the topic, then the 3rd day to do practice questions, and so on. I found that the biggest mistake that I made when I was studying 11 subjects was the fact that I was spending too much time on the harder subjects and completely neglected the easier subjects. So what you want to do other than alternating your study sessions is to mix in the easy subjects with the hard subjects for each batch. So instead of studying history, biology, and mathematics in one day, I'll do history, art, and mathematics. I'll be explaining the best way to combine subjects for maximum efficiency in study tip 3, so be sure to stay tuned for that. So, on your study days, if you have 5 hours of study time, dedicate 2 hours each for the hard subjects and 1 hour for the easy one. You don't have to study 5 hours in a row. You can always break it up into morning, afternoon, and night study sessions. But always dedicate 1 to 2 hours at the beginning of your day to revise on everything you have learned before in previous study sessions. If you don't constantly recap information, you're going to forget it. Be sure to check out my video on how to memorize anything fast and easily over here for more tips on how to remember things. I don't like telling people to study the whole day, but when you're taking that many subjects, there isn't really a way out of it, just to make sure that you take one day off every week to rest. On your practice days, instead of reading your textbook again before doing any questions, try doing the questions first. When you're done with your paper, take note of all the questions you got wrong and which subtopic they are from. Only read the parts of the chapter containing your corrections. I know it's so tempting to want to read your textbook again and again, but this is a mistake that a lot of students make. At the end of the day, you're going to be so familiar with the material, but get many wrong answers in your exam because you don't know how to do the questions. So remember, on study days, revise on what you have learned before, read the material, and do notes. On practice days, do the questions first to practice your answering technique, then read the parts of the topic you got wrong. Next, you guys know that the biggest struggle when it comes to studying many subjects is the fact that we have to remember everything. But before I explain a study tip that will help you retain any information, I first want to recommend a class on Skillshare that I really think that you guys should watch because it will help you prioritize your tasks, increase your focus, and remove distractions. If you didn't already know, Skillshare is an online learning community that offers literally thousands of classes on everything from entrepreneurship to time management and my personal favorites, productivity and art. The class that I really recommend you guys watch is Productivity Today, Managing Attention in the Digital Age by Kevin Siskar. Lesson 4 is particularly useful because Kevin introduces many tools and websites you can use to help you minimize distractions and get you focused on your work. The great thing is, you can actually watch this class for free because the first 1,000 of you guys who click the link in my description box will get a free 1-month trial of the premium membership so you can watch all these amazing classes to maximize your productivity or explore your creativity. Next, study twice a day. This study tip is to help you remember everything that you have learned. When you reach a point near your exam season where you've already finished studying your material and now you just need to revise what you have learned, try studying twice a day. So instead of just grouping your study time into one lump, try breaking it up into 2. One session in the morning and another at night, or one in the afternoon and one at night. Up to you. You will revise the same thing in both study sessions. This is to practice active recall. You guys already know how important it is to keep recapping information in order to remember it. So, if you only study something once in the morning, you might forget it by the end of the day. But if you know that you have to retain that information until your next study session at night, then you'll tend to remember more things. So in your first study session, you want to write out all the important subtopics that you have. Without looking at your book, scribble out everything you can remember about each subtopic. Once you're done, look back at your ugly notes and see if you have missed anything in your textbook. If you did, revise that part of the textbook again. Repeat this for the second study session later that day. By the way, you get so used to writing out all your points that during the exam, you'll tend to think and write much faster. Bonus tip, remember to film a time lapse of yourself scribbling down all your points so that you don't get lazy and stop halfway. This is a study tip that I mentioned in my How to Focus When Studying and Stop Daydreaming video that you can check out here. Next. Now, this is a study tip that I've never heard before on YouTube, but India Today wrote about it in their article and I think it makes so much sense. Don't study subjects in similar categories together. An advertisement might play in the next few seconds, so if you want to support this channel, please do not skip the ads. Thank you! Don't study subjects in similar categories together. There are 3 categories: memory-dependent subjects, problem-solving subjects, and interpretation-based subjects. If you want to study multiple subjects in one study session, like we mentioned in study tip 1, then you should alternate between each category. Don't study biology, history, and geography in one go because 1. It'll be too boring, 2. You'll end up neglecting one subject, or 3. You'll lose motivation because it's hard. Instead, mix and match between each category to experience the most effective way of studying. After being tired from writing a long English essay, it'll be good to have a change and switch to something like math where there are less words so that it'll give your mind a break. Unless you don't like math, then I guess it's not really a break. Next, how to prioritize. First, look at the learning objectives and highlight them in the chapter. You need to pay attention to these parts first. This is what is coming out for your exam. Second, after you have studied the learning objectives, go through the rest of the chapter. Study what you think is important and mark the places that you skipped. And third, if you have completed everything and you still have some time, go back to the parts that you have marked and read them again. Of course, in a perfect world, you will want to study everything, but this isn't a perfect world, and a lot of the time, we are just rushing to complete the syllabus without actually placing emphasis on the important parts. So please prioritize early. Next, what to do during exam week. During exam week, I understand that most of the time, you will be tested on multiple subjects each day, sometimes multiple days in a row. Here's what I do when that happens. A few days before the exam, when you're recapping on everything that you've learned, fold or mark only the most important pages. keep this to a minimum. When you have those days where you only have one night to recap more than 2 subjects, these are the pages that you read and nothing else. If you have extra time or if you have a day or 2 between each exam, use that time to read the corrections that you have from your past year papers and recap on the topics that you have learned. When it's just one day before your exam, there's no point in trying to squeeze in more information or trying to do more past year papers. You just need to relax and rest. The more stressed you are, the higher your chances of blanking out, and we don't want that. If you've made it this far, comment down below how many subjects are you currently taking, and I'll be sure to reply you. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell and set it to all so that you do not miss out on any future uploads. Thank you all for 263,000 subscribers, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye bye.